When WWE found out that I hadn't signed yet, they had actually, they said, is there anything we can do? I called Vince in early August. Like I said, Randy Orton is one of my favorite. I mean, he's just incredible. From a wrestler's perspective, he's just incredible.
Have you ever been annoyed by it? Because that Yes chain used to interject like so many promos, so many matches. Again, is that reception that you got that night, was that another one that's got to be a highlight in your pro wrestling career?
No.
No?
No.
Why is that? We're here with pro wrestling great Bryan Danielson. It's my pleasure to have you in Australia as well. How are you finding Australia at the moment?
I love it.
Love it. Not being bitten by anything?
No.
No?
But are you going to, he just told me he was going to edit this. So I think he's going to edit this and mix my words around to make it sound like, oh, Bryan Danielson hates Australia. And that'll be easy because I just said hates Australia.
Am I like acting like the heel in this situation?
Yes. Yes. You're the bad guy.
I wanted to start off, we've got AEW Grand Slam coming back to Australia, this time in Sydney, another international crowd for AEW. We saw the way the crowd in Brisbane gave the reception for Adam Copeland and his entrance. We also saw your entrance in London at Wembley, what these international crowds bring with the final countdown. Yeah. Great entrance, by the way. Is there something backstage you guys kind of crave, the international crowds?
It's not necessarily a craving. I think one of the things that happens to people when you come and do these, and especially because these are the first times that a lot of people in AEW are experiencing this. And it's just almost like a gratitude or just this idea of how cool is this? Yeah. And one of the things that I think is super cool is how things catch on when you do something internationally, right? So it's like, so for example, when Adam Copeland came out and then the singing, that hadn't really happened before.
No, not when the music stopped.
Yeah, when the music stopped. Yeah. And then now it's regularly happening because the crowd has caught on to something that the crowd in Brisbane did, right? And so, and I just think that's super cool. And so, but I think the wrestling crowds in Australia especially are just fantastic.
It's worth the long flight.
Yeah. So the when I say because I wasn't most of the time wrestler I don't even think about the flight. Yeah. Right? Like you don't think about the difficulty in getting here. You just think that's cool. Yeah. And then only while you're on the plane. Like me and Claudio, one time we did some independent shows here together and it was in Perth and we had like I was in Seattle, then I went Seattle to LA, 8-hour layover, LA to Sydney, 8-hour layover, Sydney to Perth, and then we wrestled 2 or 3 shows, and then it's just, but you don't think about it at the time. The promoter emails you or maybe called you at that time, whatever it was, and says, hey, do you want to come to Australia? You're like, yes! And then only when you're on the plane in the middle seat and all that kind of stuff. And I was doing this yoga class thing where it was like, we were doing a complaint-free month. So I wasn't allowed to complain at all. So and I
sucking it up.
Yeah, and Claudio told Claudio about the complaint-free month, and he also joined me on the complaint-free tour of Australia. Even though our travel was very difficult, we didn't complain the whole time.
I heard Claudio actually loves his coffee. Does he mention like how much he likes the Australian coffee?
Yes. Yes. So Claudio is the one who told me that Australian coffee is the best. Yeah. And then I 100% agree.
And you agree with it?
Yes.
See, I think it's a common consensus going around. Like,
but here's what I don't understand. Why?
I don't know if it's an immigrant thing. Like Australia had a lot of immigrants coming into like, whereas the Italians that have their essence of coffee and they infuse it here in Australia.
Right, but Claudio is from Europe. He's from Europe, and he told me that Australia has the best coffee. And the coffee beans don't grow natively here in Australia. No. So why is it the best?
I guess we just know our stuff. I think we just know our stuff, don't we?
No, I have asked multiple Australians this, and nobody has an answer.
Yeah. Is that another Australian conspiracy? Like, they're saying Australia doesn't exist?
Yeah.
This might be another, crack the code.
Did I tell you about Australia not existing, or did you already know that was a thing?
I don't know. Is it just something that, no, that is something that people say. Like,
yes.
No, it's the.
Yeah, I love it. And you know what? I'm spreading that conspiracy that Australia doesn't exist.
There we go.
Yeah.
We're coming up with ideas on here.
Yeah.
I was talking about the crowds. Do you have like a particular crowd or a night location that is fond in your heart specifically to you?
I have specific experiences. So for example, the one that that resonates with me most right now is when I won the title at All In Wembley Stadium, and it was the crowd reaction there, but also the crowd reaction. Everything that happens, you have to think of from a performer's perspective. There's the thing that's actually happening on the screen, and then there's what's really happening in your life, right? And so, like, this amazing crowd reaction in front of 50,000+ people, but my kids are there.
Yeah.
And they get to see it, and then they get to get in the ring with me, and then they get to experience the crowd reaction. And so as a family, we're all experiencing this together. Another reaction, a crowd reaction that is near and dear to my heart, that I think about all the time, is the last time my dad got to see me wrestle before he died. It was in Seattle. It was December 2013. And they were doing this unification match between John Cena and Randy Orton, and they had all the former champions in the ring. And then the crowd just started chanting nonstop for Daniel Bryan. Right?
Probably one of the most over moments that you've been in your career. Yeah.
And so, but that was cool. And I had, during that time period, there were a lot of like cool moments. But what makes it stand out, especially to me, is that my dad was in the crowd, and he was in the crowd with like his boss, and like, he told this to my sister shortly after. He goes, I didn't realize like that Bryan was like this.
Like this much.
Yeah. And so it's like, cause he'd come and seen some of my independent shows, but he would but he'd never seen me wrestle in WWE before. And honestly, before that time period, I wasn't that kind of over. But what makes it such a fond memory for me is, not only was the crowd reacting, but it's my dad. And I can remember it. So Raw goes off the air, and, the good guys are out shaking hands. And I see my dad, who was like 10, 12 rows back, run up. And I just give him the biggest hug, and like, and then maybe it was 4 or 5 months later, he had passed away. So
it's a great moment to have. And it shows that family in your life is very, very key to it. I don't know if you know this, but I feel like I had to bring it up because literally 4 years to this day was your debut in AEW, September 2021, the 5th of September 2021.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yes, on the same night as Adam Cole.
Yes.
Again, is that reception that you got that night, was that another one that's got to be a highlight in your pro wrestling career?
No.
No?
No.
Why is that?
If you were to ask me, you bring it up, and it was a cool. It was a cool. It was a cool day.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was a cool day, but if that moment specifically wouldn't have even come to my mind.
Seriously?
Yes.
Because I look at a debuts in pro wrestling history, I can't stop watching that video back because like something, I don't know if you can peel it back, but backstage, was it always a decision to have you and Adam Cole debut in the same night, let alone the same segment?
So you have to understand. So there's a couple things problematic about. I don't know, when you say always the plan, I hadn't actually signed my contract until like 2 or 3 days before that. So it's like,
that's the pro wrestling business.
So it's like, so it's like, okay, always the plan. Like, was Tony thinking it? Did he have that in the back of his mind? I don't know. I don't know. I want to say Adam Cole didn't sign until that day. Seriously? The day of. Like, I think maybe he had agreed to come, but you never know what's going to happen, And like, when WWE found out that I hadn't signed yet, they had actually, they said, is there anything we can do to make it? Because I called, if that was, what is today, September 5th?
Yeah, 5th of September.
Okay, so I called Vince in early August and let him, because, I was going back and forth. I wasn't sure,
And it was just out of the Thunderdome era, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so I had called Vince because he and I had a really good relationship. I called him in early August and let him know, okay, I made my decision and I'm going to do this, right? And then he had called me like one time, kind of in the meantime, and said like, hey, what if we offered you this instead, right? That sort of thing.
So was your mind kind of already made up at that point?
Yeah, it was. And when he called me, maybe I hadn't signed my contract yet. It was like maybe 5 days before the pay-per-view. And he called me, and I mean, and this is just what I told him. I said, "Sir, I've already agreed to this thing, and if I was somebody to go back on this, like, I feel like you have a decent amount of respect for me. Would you still respect me if I, like, one of the things that you respect about me is that I honor my word, right?" And so, you know, but it was a great conversation, and he said, "Damn it, you're right." Right? And so it's just like,
you love doing that voice.
Yeah. So it's like, but yeah. So it was. So you have to understand. So I don't know how much thought Tony put into it. It's like, because there's a lot of things that have to align, right? It's like, okay, Bryan has to come in, right? Adam Cole has to come in, and he hasn't signed day of the show is when he signed, I think, you know. And then and so yeah, I think he probably had it in the back of his mind, is that how cool would this be? But the
magic of that, like, that is the magic of pro wrestling.
Yeah,
anything can happen, anything can change.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a super cool moment in my career, and I don't want to be dismissive of it or anything like that. But it's just not when I think of my favorite crowd reactions. There's not, you know what it is? It doesn't have that emotional resonance to my personal life.
Yeah.
That like, some of the other ones have. Yeah. Right.
So. And is it, you hear sometimes of these wrestlers that come back on a debut or a return and have like a sense of like nerves, even though we know the crowd loves you, he's going to give you a reception. Do you have any of those moments in your career where you're kind of anticipating something that you don't know is going to come, even though you know it's going to be there?
Oh, I had no doubt when I came to AEW that, because, you know, just at that time period, I mean, jumping companies, right? Is just, you know, it's like, so I had no doubt it would be a good crowd reaction. You know, and honestly, after I was forced to retire, when I came back, when I first started training to wrestle, I was trained by Shawn Michaels. Yeah. And he said to the whole class, he said, the second you stop getting nervous before you go out there, it's time for you to retire. But it's really interesting, because when I came back from retirement, I stopped being nervous at all before I would go out there. Like, I never get nervous. Is
it more like because you're granted that extra time? Yes, or more grateful for it?
Yeah. And so
I think Copeland even speaks about that in that sense as well.
Yeah, and you can tell he wrestles like somebody who loves what he's doing. Yeah. Like he's having so much fun.
And that's why you guys are in that position as well, you know. Next thing I wanted to bring up was, I've seen going around lately, pro wrestlers being asked who are their soulmates in their business, whether that's who brought you through the business, who do you like wrestling alongside, who's one of your more notorious opponents in your career. Okay. Would you be able to give us like your top 3 of your notorious soulmates in pro wrestling?
So I hate to do like top 3.
You don't want to cut anyone out.
Because I don't want to cut anybody out, because I've had so many great experiences with people. So it's like, so if you just say, because listen, I'm here promoting AEW. Yeah. So I'm going to bring up 3 people who are AEW or AEW adjacent. And then I'm going to say somebody from 2 people from WWE who I love. But then I'm going to
give us as many as you want.
Okay, perfect. That's way better.
Don't need the pressure.
That's way better. So during my time in AEW, Hangman Page, which, you know, like, I just think the world of him. He's fantastic. And the first time we wrestled was in that hour-long match, and he had never wrestled more than 30 minutes in a singles match. Never wrestled more than 30 minutes.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so, and I forget how many matches we ended up having. I think it was maybe 5, but it's like, but you know, and you also have to think AEW doesn't do house shows, right? We're doing one in Brisbane, but it's not like we're, you know, in WWE. One of my favorite opponents was Randy Orton, and I always feel like our best matches were never on TV or paper. Our best matches were on these live events.
Was that because like you could play with it more, like you didn't have that pressure of staying in a timestamp or...
Yeah. And so, but I loved, you know, and we had some what I thought were really fun, good TV matches. But I always loved wrestling. I loved wrestling Randy, but it's like, but we got time to like gel with one another on these live events. With Hangman,
You don't get that.
No, I just had never stepped foot in the ring with him, had never locked up with him, had never done anything with him. And then we go and wrestle an hour on TV. And so it's just like,
magic.
Yeah, it's
the magic.
It's magic. You know, the second one would be Moxley.
Yeah.
You know, we had, you know, he beat me every single time.
In storyline, we don't like him.
Yeah.
That's why you stepped in there and
Yes. And so, but I feel like we wrestle very well together. This person, Nigel McGuinness, we only had one match in AEW, but as far as my career in its entirety, like he was so much of how I became the wrestler I became today. And then the other AEW person is Claudio. Yeah. I just think, and Claudio is similar to Nigel, except we wrestled each other more in AEW. But you know, I wrestled him in Ring of Honor and all these different types of things. I just think he's fantastic. And then from a WWE perspective, the two guys that I really love. I mean, there's more than two guys that love wrestling. There's so many guys. But like I said, Randy Orton is one of my favorite. I mean, he's just incredible. And then
everyone always talks highly of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just from a wrestler's perspective, he's just incredible. Yeah. Right. You know, and so and then AJ Styles, right?
Yes.
AJ Styles is fantastic. So
had some great matches 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And yes, great. It's a bit of a trivia question for you. I've talked about a lot of the crowd noise, especially what the international crowd here in Sydney is going to bring at AEW Grand Slam. The crowd noise that's always followed you is those iconic yes chants. For more than a decade, whether it's been good or bad, it's always followed you. I asked ChatGPT, how many times, estimate, has Daniel Bryan's yes chant been chanted in a wrestling arena on TV programming in the entire career?
Okay.
Do you have any guesses how many times he gave me that? Whether you were on the show or not, how many times that chant has been done?
Hundreds?
Higher than hundreds.
Thousands?
Thousands, a little bit higher than thousands.
10,000s?
10,000s. Between 11,000 and 14,000 times that yes chant has been yelled out in an arena.
Oh my gosh.
On televised program.
Oh my gosh. So,
have you ever been annoyed by it? Or even like because that yes chant used to interject like so many promos, so many matches.
No, I mean, so you know, it's different. It's different because it's not like what.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you know, the what thing was really hard, and it's still hard to this day when a crowd really starts doing it and somebody's out there doing an interview and they're trying to do their thing.
Yeah.
But a crowd just keeps interjecting with any pause. And then it's almost like, okay, well then do I have to speed through my promo? Do I need to make a comment about this, this thing? And so it's like, so that kinds to be annoying. I don't feel like the yes is like that. I think it's like people do it when they're excited about something.
Yes.
So something just happened.
Yeah.
And they go, yes, yes, yes. Right. And so it's like, oh, that's great. Or they do it in relation to me. So,
I love it. The next thing I was going to ask was, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you personally.
Okay.
Right. And
is it about Australia not existing?
No, it's not about that.
Okay.
It's not about that.
Okay.
Some about me. You talk about your personal life, too. Some about personally. I've got to respecting my mate here as well, because you kind of owe us about 40 minutes of our time back in school, because in the first year of high school, we were obsessed with pro wrestling. We loved it.
Okay.
You know, and for some reason, me and my mates, we just felt like just dropping a 5-star classic out in the schoolyard.
Okay.
I remember whipping out moves like the bro kick. I remember my mate hitting me with a Sister Abigail onto a school bag. And then all of a sudden, my mate goes, bang, drop to your knees, whips out the yes kicks. And then my mates start chanting, yes, yes, yes. Because the yes chants got so loud, my teachers come around the corner thinking we're having a proper fight.
Okay.
She's going like, stop, break it up. Oh, no. It's like, we had to start breaking kayfabe at that point.
Right,
like, we don't actually hate each other. Instead of getting a suspension, we got handed a 40-minute lunch detention.
Okay.
Has anyone ever told you like anything along those lines where people just whipped out your moves at a wrong time during the day?
No, that's the first time. That is the first time that somebody has said that to me. But I don't owe you 40 minutes.
No, you don't. But I just like, I left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. You know,
Yeah.
I was probably chanting no when everyone else was chanting yes.
Were you chanting no? Were you one of the no
I
people?
wasn't. I loved you. I loved you, mate.
No, but I mean, when I was a bad guy and I first started teaming up with Kane, everybody was chanting yes, and I was angry that they were chanting yes, so I was chanting
hell no.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a great run. And the last thing I wanted to bring up actually was, this is something personal to me, but I don't know if any other fans ever brought it up to this synonymous connection with you and the Imagine Dragons song Monster.
Okay.
Did fans ever bring that up to you?
No.
It's like this iconic wrestling video. I think it's heading into WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
And it was this story about you being the underdog,
Right.
you being overshadowed. He's only 5'8", 200 pounds, you know,
yeah.
80+ player. But this video's got like over 7 million views. If you're posted onto TikTok or Instagram, you're always synonymized with the Imagine Dragons Monster song. That's why I know this video, like a 5-minute video. I'm sorry to sound like a mark. I know every word off by heart. And I played it last night to check, and I still know this video word for word. I used to play this video going into my soccer games to hype me up. I'd get Dad to connect to his phone to the aux, go onto YouTube and play this Imagine Dragons Monster song.
Whoa.
That was like, I'm surprised you don't know about it.
So I mean, I'm aware of the song, and my kids actually love Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't think they know that there's a music video of their dad.
I'm telling you.
To Imagine Dragons.
You got to show it. I'm telling you, it's one of the most hype videos
I
in wrestling.
try not to show my kids
A lot of that stuff.
my wrestling.
Okay.
It's just not my thing.
Yep.
Like, it's cool if they get to see it live.
Like
But
that all.
but we don't have, like, so for example, Brie and I, we don't have anything in our house that would make you think that we were wrestlers at all. So yeah, but maybe I will. There's going to be a point here soon. So my daughter's 8. She still thinks I'm cool.
Yeah.
The second that she stops thinking I'm cool,
You shove it in her face.
Yeah. I'm going to say, oh yeah, you want to see how cool your dad was? Look at this. And then by that point, she won't like Imagine Dragons, and Imagine Dragons won't be cool.
And then you become uncool.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Brian, I appreciate your time today.
Yeah.
With much love. I can't wait to see what we're going to get at AEW Grand Slam in Sydney. Get your tickets if you haven't. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
What do you mean?
Yes, we should buy tickets.
Yes. Yeah. And it's also Valentine's Day. So if you have a significant other, what a great date night. And then if you have, like...
That's just an excuse to bring my girl now, isn't it?
Yeah.
She has to come.
Yeah.
She's roped in.
Yeah. And if you want to propose to her, which you may or may not, this would be an excellent time. Because then we could all just go...
She said yes.
Yeah. We could all do that. It'd be great. Anybody who wants to propose to their significant other, Sydney, Valentine's Day at an AEW show, I may or may not be on screen, but if you let us know ahead of time, I will for sure be there, and I will lead the whole crowd in a yes chant.
Let's
How
get
about
it.
that?
Easy. Thank you.
Yeah. So even if you don't like wrestling, if you just want to propose and a cool
You
proposal,
want a love story?
yeah, and young kids these days, they love the social media stuff. What a cool social media moment.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
We pop for it.
Yeah.
Easy. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Appreciate it.